Good morning, just about 6:30 now. I want to tell you about a wreck that's happening in I-40 East near Watt Road. That right lane is blocked this morning. TDOT officials say it may be cleaned up by 9 o'clock this morning. One of the busiest travel days of the year. Give yourself some extra time this morning. We will check in with our pilot's co-pilot, Sherry Bigler, in just a few minutes for the latest on that. Well, this 6:30. Your news headlines now. The TBI is adding a kidnapping suspect to its most wanted list. He's the suspect at the center of an Amber Alert out of Chattanooga. TBI issued an Amber Alert for 23-month-old Octavia from Chattanooga just after 8 last night. They say she was taken by 37-year-old Matthias Martinez. Take a look at your screen now. On one side is Octavia Shaw, on the other, Matthias Martinez. The man authorities say ran off with that girl during a traffic stop. This is grainy image, but it's dash cam video of Martinez when he was pulled over. You can see he's in a blue t-shirt and she's wearing a blue dress. Police say they were in a car that was driven by a woman with outstanding warrants when they were pulled over. That's when Martinez took off with the girl. The TBI still concentrating on the Boy Scout Road area in Chattanooga, but ask that you share these pictures and let them know if you see or know anything. You can see these pictures again by opening the WVLT News app. And as you head out on the roads for Memorial Day weekend, you'll notice TDOT changed their signs with information about this Amber Alert. We'll keep you updated with any new information. Now, more than 1 million Tennesseans expected to travel at some point this Memorial Day weekend. It's also a time to reflect and honor those who have served. In fact, Memorial Day travel up by 6% this year, according to TripAdvisor. More than half of those travelers are driving. TripAdvisor says today is expected to be the nation's busiest travel day. Well, there's expected to be about 1 million travelers in the volunteer state alone. The state suspending all lane closures related to construction starting at noon today. That lasts until Tuesday morning. And good news for those drivers. Gas is getting cheaper. The average cost of a gallon of unleaded in East Tennessee about $2.50. That is still well below the national average. THB also increasing patrols this weekend. They're going to look for anyone who is not wearing their seatbelt. Troopers say they're really cracking down on those seatbelt violations as well as distracted driving. With gas prices going down, parking rates going up over at the McGee-Tyson Airport. Starting July 1st, the short-term parking rate will be $20 a day. Long-term will be $14, but the economy lot over by the Hilton will remain just $10. Due to increased passenger traffic at McGee-Tyson, some 450 additional economy lot spaces will be added, along with an additional TSA security checkpoint lane. And if your summer travel plans have you renting an Airbnb along the way, one thing you might not think to look for: smoke detectors and fire extinguishers. Fire officials say these short-term rentals don't have the same type of regulations as your typical hotel.
And so we just want to make sure that people understand that this isn't the same as going and staying in a hotel where there's a sprinkler system and there's an automatic fire alarm system.
Now, those same fire experts say to consider and ask about these safety features before you book your next stay. Another thing to watch out for: hidden cameras. A recent survey of 2,000 Airbnb users found that 58% of people were worried about being watched by recording devices, and 11% actually found one inside of their Airbnb. Airbnb policy doesn't allow security cameras inside of bathrooms or bedrooms, and they must disclose anything that any kind of recording device before you go. If they don't, you can get a full refund. Make sure you know about that. And here in East Tennessee, it is all about the heat and humidity. Some folks try and find ways to stay cool outside. The number one thing for you to remember: stay hydrated. That's with water, Gatorade, not any sort of beverage for adults that will make you hydrated. That doesn't work like that. Yeah, CDC says make sure you're drinking water, especially if you like to exercise outdoors. If you want to plan a workout around the heat, it's best to do it early in the morning or in the evening. The CDC says it's hottest from 10 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon. Now, a lot of you are going to be cooling off in the water this weekend. The unofficial start to summer, also boating season, and generally one of the busiest weekends on the water. TWRA says they will be out on the water with you. Mainly, they'll be looking for people boating under the influence, but they want to make sure everyone stays safe. The number one thing you can do: wear a life jacket. Some other things to keep in mind: do a little maintenance check on your boat before you take it out in the water. You hate to be the guy that's backing in the boat and hasn't tested the motor since last season. And yeah, that just the whole weekend ruined there. Always keep a lookout for what's around you if you're out there on the water as well. 3-day weekend ahead, and here are just a few of the events going on today and this weekend. Today, opening day for the downtown Sevierville Farmers Market, set for 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. over at the gazebo on Bruce. So hit this farmers market tomorrow. You go to Market Square, you just fresh produce everywhere. 8 a.m. on Saturday, it's the 42nd running of Knoxville's oldest running event, the Expo 10K 5K. They even have a kids mile. It's all hosted by the Knoxville Track and Field Club. That starts over at 4th and Gill. And tomorrow at 9 a.m., the historic Ramsey House Rock and Roll Car Show. Free fun for the entire family. You can check out some sweet rides. And over in Blount County, they're having a United Veterans of Blount County Memorial Day program. That'll be at Rio Revolution on East Lamar Alexander Parkway in Maryville. That event starts at 10 o'clock on Saturday.
Yeah, so important to remember what this weekend is about. Just remembering everyone who has fought for us here in America.
Meanwhile, you can grab the family and head out to the Smokies game tonight, Star Wars night. Casey here throwing out the first pitch.
Been practicing.
All right.
Not really, so this may not go well, but yes, the Smokies and Kodak tonight taking on the Pensacola Blue Wahoos. Tonight you're going to find the Star Wars characters roaming around the concourse. There's also a raffle benefiting the United Way and, of course, fireworks after the game. This all starts at 7 o'clock. The first pitch just before that. Wish me luck. I'm going to need
thousands of people.
Thank you, Harry.
With your eyes on you. It's just, you got to do it.
I just want to make it to the plate. That's my only goal. My dad played baseball in college, so I'm hoping maybe some of those genes are going to flow through me.
Hopefully he does. Hopefully you make it. I'm not saying you're not, but we're all counting on you.
Thanks, Harry.
You're welcome. Meanwhile, at 6:36, time to check in with your traffic cams this morning. We'll go over to Pilot's co-pilot, Sherry Bigler. She's been keeping an eye on one wreck out on Watt Road and across the area. Sherry, what are we seeing this morning?
Well, I'm going to take you out there again, Harry. You can see here that right-hand lane is still shut down. Now, they're talking about hoping to have that reopened very quickly. But as you can see here in this TDOT Smart Cam, it is still shut down for right now. And I just heard just a couple of moments ago about another fender bender about 3 miles east of this one, and it's going to put it right around Campbell Station. They're saying that one is just a very minor fender bender, though. It's over on the right-hand shoulder and shouldn't cause you too much trouble. Sherry Bigler, Pilot's co-pilot, WVLT Traffic.
Thank you, Sherry. Yeah, first big travel day, and I-40 already kind of looks like a mess so far. Keep that in mind. Meanwhile, 1 million Tennesseans will be traveling on the road this weekend. Today is National Road Trip Day, designated by Pilot Flying J.
Well, everyone loves a good road trip, right? Or at least you try to make the best of it. They actually did a study to find out the must-haves for a successful trip. 3 in 5 said having good snacks and drinks for the road.
Crucial.
That's the most important.
Yes.
Then finding places to eat on the way. This one's a big one for me, making sure you find some clean bathrooms along the way. You can actually save by entering Road Trip into the Pilot Flying J mobile app. They're going to give you $5 off your purchase if you do that.
Another thing, it seems so simple, but you tie a little, trash bag or little plastic bag in the back. Just you keep your car clean.
You got to keep it clean.
Clean car, clean family.
What about, do you like to read or watch movies? It kind of makes me a little car sick.
I really like driving.
Oh,
I'm the one that drives the whole way. It kind of keeps me going.
Yeah.
But play a couple road games.
I'm gonna take a snooze.
You do the punching when you see like an out-of-state license plate
and you
with
punch
the brothers in the back. Yeah, my mom was never too thrilled when we saw Alaska 7. Boom. It wasn't too happy with
Okay,
that.
so good luck to everyone on their travel plans. We do want to check in with meteorologist Ben Cathy. He's keeping an eye on the forecast for if you headed out this morning, what you need to know.
Yeah, beautiful sunset last night thanks to our weather ball Gary Everett. Today for drivers, there's going to be some sun glare along with some fog on both I-75 and I-40. Let's head out to I-75 towards Athens. Half a mile of visibility, getting worse. No surprise as we get closer and just after sunrise. That's when we get the coolest part of the day. Closer to the dew point, you get the dew, you get the fog. Half a mile in Madisonville, 2 mile visibility downtown, 3/10 of a mile Middlesboro, poor visibility, pea soup in Harlan, also on I-75 north of Knoxville towards Rocky Top and Jellicoe Mountain. 70 in Knoxville, 60 in Middlesboro. This should largely be gone by about 8:30, 9 o'clock as we skyrocket the temperatures with a high UV index in the extreme category with some sunburns taking as little as 15 minutes to form. 5 o'clock this morning, 6:30, nothing to see. This is ground clutter up by Harlan, and we're in that heat ridge pattern, the heat dome. There's tons of names for it. We just sit here baking, very little moisture to provide showers and storms. Even though we get a little fog, it's not going to produce much in the way of rainfall. But we are watching North Knox County, Union County, and Hamlin County towards Morristown for a very isolated shower 2-3 o'clock this afternoon. Doesn't show up here. We'll show you a different view in a couple seconds that does contain that one shower. These clouds tomorrow will have a few isolated showers, but about 1 in 5 of us see rain the next few days, and that's about it. So what we're doing here, this is 2:30, 3 o'clock. We're zooming in to Knox County, to Hamlin County. That is the only model with the only shower for today. Point being, you shouldn't need the rain gear. You should just pack the patience on the roads with all those drivers. I can tell you, coming into work this morning, 2:30, there was already a lot more traffic than a normal commute at that time of the day, as you might imagine. 67 overnight, calm winds. It's going to be good driving weather tomorrow, but we'll still be near record highs. Southwest winds at 10 to 15, only an isolated chance for that rainfall. But as Casey alluded to, the true meaning of Memorial Day, of course, the fallen heroes from the armed services. So if you're heading out 6:22 on Monday, that is your sunrise services for the reading of the names. Out of Arlington, we're going to have temperatures of 84 here, but that's when the big service happens there. Later on in the forecast, 96 on Tuesday. That would shatter a record from 1914.
All right, I kind of hope we break the record. I don't think anyone else does, but that's just me. Topping news from around the nation. President Trump has told the nation's intelligence community to, quote, quickly and fully cooperate with Attorney General William Barr's investigation into the origins of the Russia probe. White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders said in a statement that President Trump is delegating to Barr the full and complete authority to declassify documents relating to the investigation. And the Senate voted to pass a $19 billion aid package that includes money for hurricane-battered Puerto Rico and mainland states hit by natural disasters. The legislation now comes to the Democratic-controlled House, which is also expected to pass it. President Trump said he will sign it even though funding to handle an influx of migrants at the southern border was removed. And federal prosecutors slapped WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange with 17 new charges, including violating the Espionage Act. That's for his role in publishing thousands of secret and classified documents. His lawyer calls the new charges a threat to all journalists. And a Vietnam Veterans Memorial is vandalized in Boston. This happened Thursday. Flags were torn down and thrown into the woods. Several flowers and plants were ripped from the ground. The historic memorial features the names of 80 servicemen who were killed during the Vietnam War. And coming up, we're taking you to Pigeon Forge's newest attraction.
Yeah, the story behind the National Enquirer, live in Pigeon Forge. Plus, how you can get in for free. That's coming up next. But first, here's a look at your primetime lineup for tonight, 8 o'clock. The season premiere of Whistleblower, then followed by Hawaii Five-0, Blue Bloods at 10, and WVLT News at 11.
Coming up, British Prime Minister Theresa May announces her resignation. We'll have the latest on this breaking news, plus how a bipartisan effort could help workers tackle student loan debt, and a look at the growing trend of micro vacations. Coming up on CBS This Morning.